Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock, time for the meeting. I'm calling the Tuesday, May 22nd, 2012 meeting to order. We have the invocation by Commissioner Holberg and the pledge led by Commissioner Flowers.
Please stand. Bow our heads. Father, we're here today to ask for your blessings and guidance in performance of our duties as elected officials. We pray for strength, love, knowledge, and understanding. Help us to recognize and solve the problems that are presented. Make our solutions fair and just to the best interest of everyone. Help us to overcome our shortcomings and keep us united as a team to work for the betterment of the city and its people. We pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under presentation and delegation, we'd like to recognize Michael Melson, Superintendent of Steel Branch Water Treatment Plant, as Operator of the Year 2012, District 4 of the Georgia Association of Water Professionals. Director of Public Works, Dr. Keller, will address.
Good evening, Commissioners. How y'all?
Good evening.
Mike, this year was the candidate that we nominated for District 4 for Operator of the Year for 2012, and was successful in achieving that accomplishment. Mike is the lead knowledge that you have. You know that we've retired both our main superintendents from both our plants in this past year over the last 5 months. Mike has all the knowledge of our system.
The sound.
I'm trying. Bendo. It has the knowledge of our system both at Harry Simmons and at Steel Branch Reservoir, and understands how to balance the system, especially when we've got to switch loads. And this year, Mike was nominated by us and selected by the Georgia Association of Water Professionals for District 4. And we hope to have him around for a long period of time. He lives down in Molina and operates the plant down there under his control. He's been able to help us every day. He talks to me, especially during the drought, for how we're going to balance the load each day. And tomorrow we're going to have another conversation about the drought after the webinar today. So on behalf of our department and I think his wife and his family is here tonight. Just want to recognize Mike for his achievements in 2012 as Operator of the Year.
Wonderful.
And one parting note, he's sitting down because he says he'll get even with me for this.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to recognize the Griffin Power Rodeo Team for their outstanding performance in the 2012 Georgia Lineman's Rodeo in Albany, Georgia.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would have worn my red shirt, but it didn't fit, so and I don't know why. I'll let everybody get there. This year's rodeo, you know, we participate in the Georgia Rodeo every year, and every year I get to come up here and brag on these gentlemen, and this year is no different. This year, as I've said before, there was 4 events. These events are for many different reasons. These are actual jobs that they do in the field. They have to do them safe, and they have to do them under a stop clock. They get to show their skill, their knowledge, and their desire for the profession they've chosen. So I personally want to congratulate all the participants in this year's rodeo, both the journeyman team and the apprentice, all under the leadership of Mr. Mike Blackman. So I thank each and every one of you very, very much. And the coaches, they give a lot of their own time to this, and I just wanted to give them a public round of applause.
Give us their names, Bill.
Yeah.
Introduce them.
I'll let Mr. Blackman come up.
Yes, I just want you to introduce them by name.
Yes.
Okay, to my left is Mike Poole. He's on the journeyman lineman team. The groundman for the journeyman lineman team, Brian Roberts. That's a new apprentice, only been climbing for 2 months. I wish y'all could have been there to watch these two new ones compete. This is Drew Decker, and right behind me is Robert Post. He's the one that served in Iraq. You know, he's just been back since January.
Right.
I'd like us to give him a round of applause,
Yes.
please. And he's been one that's been climbing for 2 months. Bill Bosch, y'all know him. This is one of our older apprentices. I say older in age, but what are you in your second year, Leroy? He's an apprentice. He don't have the youth that everybody else has, but he's working. I mean, he's representing us older folks. And Lee Goodman's the coach. They placed real good this year. We was proud of them, but we also know what it means to catch that long fly ball at the 9th inning when the bases was loaded. We know how that feels.
Are you bringing it back to Griffin?
We're gonna talk about it in June,
Oh, okay.
and it'll either be in Albany one more year, and then we're gonna bring it back to Griffin, or we're bringing it back to Griffin next year.
Super.
Good job.
To give you one other little bit of information, the times that they had in the Georgia Rodeo almost equaled the national teams of over 400 to 500 teams in Kansas City. So they are every bit as good as the national teams that are competing.
Okay.
If you guys ever need a substitute, we got Ryan McLemore.
I'll be up there.
With Kenny Smith.
Okay, next we're moving right into citizen comments. At this time, the chairperson opens the floor to comments from the audience. Comments should relate to a specific agenda item not listed on the agenda for a public hearing or to a concern within the jurisdiction of the city. Commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinions. The chairperson reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to city business and may refer speakers to the city manager or other staff for resolution. Having said that, is there anyone to my left that would like to come forward and address the board? Is there anyone on the right that would like to come forward and address the board? Please come forward. Give us your name and address for the minutes.
And I say it's 1737 Carrington Drive, Griffin, Georgia, 30224.
Okay.
My matter at hand is with City of Griffin, the police department. I had an argument/altercation with one of the officers, and it was not handled properly, and he threatened my life, and it was brushed off. He threatened my son, my 11-year-old son, and I need to know what I can do about this because we stay right next door to each other, and I'm fearing for my life.
Could you tell us more about
On March the 4th, it's all over a parking space that belongs to me. He was using my parking space, and I asked him repeatedly not to use mine. On March the 4th at night, I blocked his company parked there. I left, went to Walmart, I came back home, and I blocked her in. 1:30 in the morning, he came, he was beating and kicking on my door. I didn't answer it. The only reason I answered my door was because he was calling me out my name in the middle of the street. I provoked him. We were two adults arguing like children in the street. He was cussing me, we was cussing each other. He said he's gonna have my landlord tow my car out off of my property. I said, go ahead, let me call City of Griffin. I called the police. The officer came out, he got out the car, he said, buddy, what's going on? At that time, he said, this is acting a fool. He went on and on and on. I went on and on and on. The officer pulled me to the side and let me know that it would be in my best interest to move my car off my property. I do understand because I had to let her out. I understand that, but in the police report, he made it seem like I was on their property. I reported him for the threat, for the harassment. The harassment still continues to this day. I've made, recorded statements. My son even went to the police station and told what he witnessed and what was going on. I just need to know, what can I do about this? Because we stay next door to each other. Not down the street, not over here, right next door, side by side.
City Manager.
It's the first I've heard of it, Madam Chairman. I'll be glad to look into it. Haven't heard any reports from the police department, or the complainant, so I don't know what to tell you at this point.
I've been talking to him off and on, and I've spoken with Lieutenant Dick, and I filed my initial complaint, Lieutenant Rogers took my initial complaint for Mayor Daniels. Yesterday, well, this statement was taken Thursday, May 17th. Okay, but in the meantime, I stay next door, you know, okay. So, do I address him or do I need to address you all? 'Cause
Well,
this
the
is-
city manager said that he would investigate this, and he'll get with Chief Strickland.
Sheriff.
Sorry, I hope I haven't demoted you, and, you know, and handle it. We appreciate you coming and bringing it. You are a citizen of our community, and as a citizen, you know, you have a right to have your complaints and have them investigated, and we thank you for coming before us.
And since you've been told that he's been told to cease and desist and to leave you alone, make sure you keep a record of anything that happens between now and then, because you know for sure that he's been asked to leave you alone.
Okay,
So that between them completing the investigation and the city manager getting with you, just make sure that you keep a record of anything that happens.
so
since you know
every
that-
time something happens, do I need to go to the
Just-
police
Just,
department?
you can, keep a log, or, I mean, something so that they can include it in the investigation, in between them being able to get some rectification for it,
Okay,
since you know that he's been told to leave you alone.
okay.
And you say your address is where now?
1737 Carrington Drive, behind Griffin High School.
Whose district is that?
It's District 5, I'm sure. Carrington is in your district, isn't it? You're on Pine Hill Road, off Pine Hill
Yes,
Road, aren't
ma'am.
you? Yeah, it's off South Pine Hill Road.
That's the farther south of my district, that's yours, I think.
Okay, well, I need to get your information where if you need to speak with me on anything.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll make sure before you leave.
Yes, sir.
It's mine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Street.
Is there anyone else on the right that would like to come forward and address the board?
I'm gonna look it up too, make sure.
Okay. Okay, under public hearings, receive comments regarding the proposed budget for fiscal year, beginning July 1st, 2012, and ending June 30th, 2013. This is a public hearing.
I think Marcus is gonna kick it off there.
We're here for any questions. City manager and myself are available if there are any questions regarding the budget.
Really for any public comments?
Yeah.
How many public hearings we have, one or two?
You'll
We have
have two.
one tonight and one at the next meeting in
Okay.
June.
Anybody have, any of y'all got any comments?
I don't know.
Anyone from the audience have any comments or would like to come forward and address the board, with any information on the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll move into our consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the minutes of the workshop and the meeting of May 8th as presented.
Second.
Have a motion a second to approve the, minutes, of the workshop on May 8th and the minutes for the regular scheduled meeting for May 8th. All in favor, let it be known by show of hands.
I'm not voting yellow.
6, 0, 1. Okay.
Okay, oh, wow.
Okay, we'll move into our regular agenda. Remove from the table and consider request for the special use permit to allow for the utilization of a vacant warehouse structure as a places of assembly for property located at 1146 West College Street Extension.
Madam Chair, I move that we remove this from the table for discussion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to remove from the table. All in favor, let me know by show of hands. 7-0. Good evening.
Is the applicant still moving forward with this? I don't see him.
Yeah,
He's right behind the column back
Oh,
here.
behind the post, okay. Okay.
Did you, and of course, the question was, could you, do an overlay on a half of a lot? Is that not correct?
Well, actually, after your last meeting, when you tabled it, we went back, Adam and myself went back and looked at our, now our Unified Development Code, where the zoning ordinance got moved into. This is under the places of assembly overlay. And as we read the description of the district had to be identified on the official zoning map. Tucson was also participating in this process and researched back, and we can never find where we've ever assigned a POA district on the zoning map. However, since we've had this in the zoning ordinance for some time, you have been approving on a case-by-case basis a special use permit. So our recommendation to you is just to treat this as an application for a special use permit. I think Frederick had envisioned assigning it to basically all of the city other than within residential areas, is what I had understood from looking back at some notes and whatnot. It just never got handled as far as the actual application to the map.
Okay, so
What we were gonna recommend is a special use permit only on the back portion. It's not a rezoning. A rezoning would have to apply to the entire lot, but a special use permit does not. It can only apply, in this case, only needs to apply to the physical building, the warehouse, that's on the back portion of the lot, West College Street.
and that back portion, is that the actual address, 1146, is that the back portion only? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if I made a motion to approve this at 1146 West College Extension, it would be the back portion to meet what you said.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We're making, the motion is for,
Does anybody have a problem if I make?
the places of, still for places of assembly, overlay,
Well, it'll actually be a motion for grant a special use permit
for the places of
for a
assembly.
place of assembly at 1146 West College Street.
That exactly is my motion.
And staff recommends it?
Yes, sir.
Before- That's
Well,
recommendation.
No,
Well,
Condition.
no, we
Denial.
recommend the denial of the report, but also there were some conditions on that property, which we normally put on all
Yeah.
places of assembly. But number 5 is, one that if you look at the pictures of the warehouse, there's all grass, there's no pavement or any stabilization of that lot.
Right.
Madam Chair, my motion is to approve this with those 5 conditions. If I can get a second, we can,
I'll second that.
okay, now.
Okay, discussion.
Would be do you have to pay that?
You have to put some type of, stabilization, some type of gravel or something down, based on what, Dr. Keller wants to see on that lot.
It's going to be a dust-free surface, does not have to be an impervious surface. It's going to be dust-free.
Is the applicant agreeing to do that? Okay.
And is there, originally, he was talking about this only being for 6 months in that location. Is this gonna be indefinitely until he abandons the property?
Yes,
There's
sir.
no time limit?
Place of assembly will be there until he abandons the property.
So as a special use permit, does it have any kind of tax implication on the lot as a whole? Or is the fact that we're doing a special
No, it just gives him the right to use this back portion of this lot for this purpose.
All right.
And there won't be any taxes, will there?
Well, probably there would be.
If it's a church?
Only if it's owned by a church or nonprofit, just not when it's occupied.
You can't, the front part of it is on one street, and the back part of the church is on another street. You don't see the.
But the entire property, which both uses are owned by an individual, so it's still a tax digest.
Okay, all in favor, let me know by show.
Hold
I'm
on
sorry.
just a minute now, just for clarity's sake. The restriction, or the condition number 5 says stabilize and pave. So as to prevent damage to adjacent properties and/or public street.
Well, we talked
There's
about
a
it,
difference in
and
that
actually,
and dust-free.
we don't require it, but Adam and I did talk about it about a week ago, and as long as it's dust-free, it can be a pervious paving, or a pervious, improvement. There's not-
A gravelled parking lot is not a dust-free surface.
No.
So just spreading gravel out there is not gonna meet the requirement of
What is
condition
the
number
stuff
5.
that the, phone company uses over on Middlebrooks? And, 'cause it's not concrete and it's not gravel, but yet it's
It's
a
dust-free.
gray, it's dust-free and it's a gray material that they use.
Brant may be familiar with it, I'm not sure.
See, Brent.
Well, this brings up a question I have, because the applicant last time basically said he was going to have, uses an office and a minimal use, so there likely wouldn't be anybody parking there until this organization grows enough to require parking there. Is that what I'm hearing? At that time, then you have to deal with the parking. I can't hear you. Yeah,
It's a headquarters for my ministry.
so you're not gonna be parking there?
And, what it is, see, the place had, the ground got grass seed going up through it, but what it is, somebody already had put rocks down on it. It's a hard ground, ain't no mud, and that's, it's not a lawn, ain't nobody, won't make no mud puddles. And, I've looked at that ground, in fact, I took up heavy equipment and those things my years, and I know about the ground, 'cause I helped build a lot of stuff up around Atlanta, Spaghetti Junction, out on 75, and I poured a lot of concrete, 150 yards of concrete at one continuous pour, bridges and overcame. Now, I'm very, very familiar with the ground and the construction compaction of the land. But, and I'm only gonna be here just a short while, because what I have right now gonna put me in a good place, because I know what I have concerning this. We got several issues on there, I understood too, about what the person knows the liquor store, right? But the bottom line is, drink and drunk, what state you in, and so the bottom line is, that don't constitute anything, 'cause Jesus allowed that. That's gonna be part of my teaching. So a person that drink won't be a second-class citizen.
All right, before we get too deep into that.
Is it grandfathered in? That's what I'm wondering,
Well,
because if it's a
yeah,
warehouse on the front part, and if the property, on the back, if it's a hard surface.
It's not grandfathered in as a place of assembly, though.
No, but
No,
that's just an overlay.
Look, because I made the motion to accept these recommendations as stated, and Mr. Smith is correct, it says stabilize and pave, so
Within 6 months.
where are we going, what do we need to do with this stabilize and pave or not pave.
Well, if he's only
Give me
got
some
a
help
single
here.
car that occasionally drives across the existing grassed area out there, it looks like it's grass from the picture.
Well, they don't need a places of assembly if it's just gonna be an office with
Yeah.
one or two people. There, I mean, there's no need to have an assembly if you're not gonna have multiple.
That
People
is not
come-
what I'm saying, though. That's not, see, what it is, it's me right now. And I have a vision to start off in this place here, because I've been given this instruction.
Well, if this is your office,
Sir?
if this is your church office, and you're not gonna have parishioners there, why are we approving a place of assembly? You
Well,
don't need
well,
it.
see, what happened, I'm recruiting, and so I wanna be along with the guideline of the city.
Okay, well, now, if you recruit and start having folks show up, by the terms of this, you need to pave the lot.
If he has under 40 people.
Well, I agree with that, you know, because I read that just the other day, that, you know, it was pavement in the old church, you know, and they had cubits, and I saw that was
So,
parking, is for park, you know, in it for us now, we bringing things up to this time. So God keeping me in abreast of what I need to do, and if paving is need to be done and go up, in
All right.
So he's what
according
he
to
said
the
is,
law.
you agree
then
to the
I'm
conditions?
in agreement to do
Okay,
that.
all right,
Yeah, I'm in agreement to do that.
Okay.
okay. All in,
I have nothing further.
didn't I call for the vote?
You did, and I interrupted you, but
Okay.
you hadn't voted yet.
Okay, all in favor of approving the,
With the conditions as stated.
with,
Special use
a
permit
place of
with
assembly
conditions.
overlay with the conditions, that are stated. Let me know by show of hands.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 0.
You got it.
Go out and do
Go
good.
forth and pave.
You want me to cover this other one too, son?
Okay, consider first reading on an ordinance amending the Code of Griffin, Georgia at Chapter 22, Building and Buildings Regulation, Article 2, Construction Standards, Section 21-31, State Minimum Standard Code.
Several years ago, the Board of the Department of Community Affairs was statutorily charged with adoption of state standard minimum construction codes. They've done so. There's also a grouping of what are called the optional codes, which local governments still have to adopt by way of ordinance. You're charged by the state law with enforcing the mandatory minimum codes. Last year, the DCA board revised these codes for about the third time since they've had them, and sent a notice out actually in December telling local governments they were in effect as of January the 1st. We started looking at our existing code provisions where we had implemented enforcement procedures and procedures for permitting and whatnot within our city code, and also where we had adopted, I think, 4 actually of the optional codes, which 2 of which had been taken away from us, and then a new 3rd code had been added last year. So we were working with Frederick before his departure, and actually with Adam and Ernest Freeman, our building inspector. So simply what we're doing here is housekeeping. We're trying to keep our city code current with the state law requirements.
That's the bottom line. I read it. We have to do this or else. So therefore, I move we approve on first reading this ordinance as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve on the first reading. Is there any further discussion? A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, let me know by show of hands. 7-0. Okay. Consider first reading on an ordinance amending the Code of Griffin, Georgia at Chapter 44, Emergency Management, to provide emergency powers to the city manager in the event of a disaster.
I move that we approve.
Second.
Thank you. I didn't have to do either of those.
Okay, I have a motion and
Don't take my
a,
guns, that's all I have.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, let me know by show of hands. 7-0.
Just know we're gonna be watching you.
Yes, ma'am. Don't take our guns.
Consider first reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Griffin, Georgia at Chapter 62, Parks and Recreation, Article 2, Municipal Golf Course Rules and Regulations, Section 63-31, conduct on municipal golf course.
I move we approve, but I have a comment.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve.
You're telling me, after I read this, that we went on and did this, but we had a rule forbidding it, an ordinance, and we didn't change it to time.
We found one sentence under the golf course ordinance, not under the alcohol ordinance, but under the golf course ordinance, there was one sentence that prohibited alcohol on the golf course.
Okay. Cool. All right.
And so this doesn't have anything to do with behavior then? Okay, good
Just a
deal.
commission meeting.
I mean, considering only gentlemen play golf, right?
Okay.
Disorderly golf.
All in favor, let me know by show of hands. 7-0. 6-0. 6-1-0. Okay. Consider approval of the, fiscal year, but 2013 residual sludge rate with Center Growth for a continuation of the residual management program for the wastewater division.
I hardly approve of residual sludge, and therefore I move we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, let me know by show of hands. 7-0. Consider task order form in accordance with the Master Services Agreement with Paragon Consulting Group for inventory and assessment of city streets in the amount of $56,500.
I move we approve.
Good.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by show of hands. Thank you. Consider proposed scope of work with PSD Software LLC and maintenance agreement for 2012 to 2013 in the amount of $20,000 for the Public Works and Utility Department.
Move that we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by show of hands. 7-0. Consider awarding the Utility Services Company Incorporated the continuation of a professional services agreement with fiscal budget year 2012 through 2016 for the maintenance and cleaning of Griffin's water tank in the amount of $84,482.11 for 2012 through 2013.
I move we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any?
May I ask Brad a question?
Mhm.
Are these tank cleanings a mandated time, or is this something, how's the interval chosen?
It's not, it has nothing to do with the time, it just has to do with the duration of how long we want the tanks, with that particular contractor. Just like with Centergrow next year, we'll go out for competitive bid for residual sludge management, and the same thing with this, is you have to clean your tanks in order to have, the chlorine residual not build up in any, tuberculation, all this.
So it's actually to protect the tanks more than anything?
It's strictly maintenance, preventive maintenance on,
Okay.
on facilities.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, let me know by show of hands. 7-0. Okay, consider approval of an engagement letter with Reptile Financial Consultant Incorporated for retail rate model adjustments and wholesale rate model and calculations for 2013 in the amount not to exceed $25,620.
Madam Chair, I move we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by show of hands. 7-0. Consider an intergovernmental agreement with Spalding County for the funding of a joint transportation planner.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any, further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by show of hands. 7-0. Okay, appoint 2 citizen members and 2 commissioner members to the newly created Griffin Spalding Airport Authority. Citizen appointments are for post number 6 to expire on December 31st, 2017, post number 8 to expire on December 31st, 2015.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to nominate Keith Smith to fill the first post.
I'd like to make a, motion to close nominations for post 6.
I have a nomination for Keith Smith, and a nomination to close. I have a motion to close the nomination.
Madam Chair, I second the nomination, the motion to close.
Okay, all in favor to close the nominations? let it be known by show of hands. 7-0. Okay, we need to take the vote now.
We just did.
We did, by acclamation.
Right.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to nominate Brett Lavender for post number 8.
Madam Chair, I move we close nominations for post 8.
I'll second that.
Brett, what was that?
Lavender.
Okay, all in favor of closing nominations? So, those are two? Okay.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to nominate Joanne Todd and Dick Morrow for the commission appointments at post 2 and number 4, in that order.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Do we don't need to close nomination. Okay, all in favor, let it be known by show of hands. 7-0. You got it, Julie? Okay,
All right.
that's it. Okay, city manager's report.
Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, our branding group will be meeting from 8 till about 10 in the morning. If you're on that committee or have a representative on that committee, we'll look forward to you being here. That will be in this room. On May 29th at 6 o'clock, remind you about our sidewalk meeting on the south side. It'll also be in this room on the 29th at 6 p.m. And I just want to thank the finance department, our budget analysts, and directors, and the entire staff for the work on the budget this year.
Amen.
I think we made a good budget come together under some difficult circumstances, and I appreciate the work that they did. That's all I have.
Drew, you have anything?
I have nothing tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner, B.I.?
Yes, I would just like to, for us to get some information on that, the sign, was staff the guy we hadn't gotten any information on that in a while. I would like to get some information on that.
That was filed with the Superior Court, and it's been pending now, waiting a decision by Judge Crawford for about 6 months, I guess. Rick Sasser's
the sign
out there on the North Expressway.
Alive and well.
It's still alive and floating out there.
That's right. It is.
Okay. Very good, you're here.
That's it.
Okay. Commissioner Morrow?
A couple things. One, I'd like to publicly congratulate Spalding County. They took the initiative and hired the consultant that got Spalding County out from under the environmental restrictions we are on for non-attainment zone, and
That's us.
Yeah, that's a great help for us with recruiting industry, because today Caterpillar couldn't have come under those rules, so I salute Spalding County and what they did, and thank them. It'll help us in our business.
Will that result us out of ARC?
No, we're still in ARC as far as the traffic MPO, but the non-attainment is a huge advantage for us. It keeps us from a lot of monkey motion things we have to do. So congratulations, Spalding County. Also, I noticed in the paper the other day, and I didn't get to go to this event, but Lieutenant Darrell Dix was named by the Griffin Judicial Circuit as Officer of the Year at the District Attorney's annual event, his awards banquet. So this is the top award for an officer, and I'm sure the chief is proud of Lieutenant Dix. And also, they honored Lieutenant Samuel Parks of Griffin, the Griffin Judicial Circuit's white-collar crime investigator. So these are two very nice awards our policemen received from the District Attorney's Office, and I'd like to publicly congratulate these two officers.
Thank you.
And I'm done.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Commissioner Albert?
June Jam is June 2nd, so look forward to seeing everybody out at the pavilion out there for a good night of fun. It's become the annual festive activity for Griffin, so look forward to kicking off the summer. And wanted to thank Marcus and the staff and Kenny. The budget presentation over the last 2 meetings has been very informative, and we appreciate y'all's giving us something that we can work with, that we can sell to the public as well as to the employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner McLemore? Commissioner Flowers?
No comment.
Commissioner Todd?
I just wonder if you all are getting the telephone calls about sidewalks that I'm getting.
Oh, that meeting is,
The 29th.
29th,
Yes.
6 o'clock.
Yes.
We're at.
That
Here.
has nothing
Right
to
here.
do with us.
It does have to, oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't really much. I did have a request for a lady on B's that in her block of B's, she would like a sidewalk. We did, and I want to thank Bill Bosch and Kenny for getting 2 street lights on these, where, when I was requested to investigate the fact that they didn't have any, it was very dark, and they went out and they put some I guess their street lights are up, I don't know, but they said they would repair one and put up another one. And then that same lady said, you know, it would be so nice to have some sidewalks on these. So,
Okay.
that's my only positive comment on the sidewalks.
Okay, all right. If nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.